All right, plates, new plates, 5mm plates, which means this currently will not click into a binding. We added 5mm to the bottoms. We're gonna use a router. Hello again, Sawyer at the Start Haus. Today I want to talk to you guys about solid sole boots, how to take care of them, what to do, what not to do, and why it's important to be aware of the difference in soles. So what I have here is a Lang RS 70 short cuff boot. This is a junior race boot, super popular throughout the entire world. It's awesome. But what we have is a solid lug. As you see, the lug of the boot, the toe strike and the heel strike, they're all injected together as part of the boot. Recreational boots off the wall have a replaceable toe and heel now with the invention of grip walk, insoles, and they did that so that people weren't wearing out their boots like they were 20 years ago. Boots that are solid lug, like this, typically do ski better. That's why race boots are all solid lug. It's a better immediate power transmission into the ski. It's really precise, it's more torsionally rigid. There's a lot of benefits to a solid lug boot. The problem with this is the maintenance and care on these is a lot more demanding than a recreational boot off the wall. So what we have to do is two things. With these, we have to make sure that you're not wearing down the toe and the heel, because if you're wearing down this boot, ski boots are expensive, you will ruin the boot eventually. If you wear it down too far, the concern is that as you wear it down, it's not going to interface properly with a ski binding anymore. So especially for race athletes and high performance skiers who are typically in boots like this, we need to make sure that the boot and binding are functioning properly and cohesively so that you don't have a pre-release at high speeds, which is when that's going to happen. So maintaining these toe and heels is super important. There's two ways to do that. The first way is wearing cat tracks. If you have a boot just like this and you take it off the shelf, you have to wear cat tracks, or you're going to wear down that toe strike there. You're going to wear that down, and we're going to have to replace that, fill it in with epoxy, put plates on top. Anyway, it gets expensive. It gets time consuming. It ruins the boot. You don't want to do that. So cat tracks, cat tracks, cat tracks all day. The second way is we can protect the boot preemptively by putting race plates on here or just plates on here. So what that is, we're taking a set of these guys. This is from a company that just builds general size plate, 5mm thickness. 5mm thick plate for the toe, for the heel. See those there. So for the toe and for the heel, 5mm thick. Comes in 3, 4, 5. They even go up to 7. For this boot, I'm using 5s because it's a junior racer. And we can install this like so onto the toe and heel, where we'll screw this in, but it will give that toe and heel strike a replaceable aspect that now, if you're walking around, you're wearing out something that is replaceable, and you won't compromise the safety or function of the boot. Now, with plates like this that are solid plastic, these are still really slippery. You shouldn't be walking in them, and you wear them out. They wear out quickly if you're walking through the parking lot in these every day. So even with these, you still need to wear cat tracks. Now, why I'm using these for this race boot. Now, a lot of people can make an argument about changing the height of boots, what's faster, especially for race boots, what skis better. For our junior athletes, this is for a 12-year-old, we don't have the time to go out and test and see what amount of lift feels better, what amount of lift is actually faster. That's just impractical. The reality is 5mm of lift for an athlete like this, for me, for a recreational skier who wants to be in a performance boot, is not going to affect the performance over the ski. In theory, it gives you more leverage. That's why FIS has limitations to how high you can go from the ground to your foot. So we're not worried about that with this. The reason I'm using 5s with this athlete too is that you still should use cat tracks with these. Absolutely should still use cat tracks, but this is a junior race athlete. This is a 12-year-old athlete that's going to be walking around, trying to use cat tracks. We know that these kids are not going to be perfect with the cat tracks yet. So going with that thicker plate gives you, as a parent, a thicker buffer for if they wear this out, you can replace it, and you know that your athlete is going to be safely skiing at their best potential. And you'll be able to pass this boot on or resell it garage sale or something like that. So this is hugely important for safety and just for saving the longevity of the boot. Now, to dive into it deeper, a lot of the times we have people in here that are recreational skiers that want to be in a race style boot. That's what we do at the Start Haus. We put people in the highest performing boot a lot of the time because they want that. And what that means is we sell a lot of boots to recreational skiers with solid soles. So for them, I don't want to walk through the parking lot with cat tracks every day. You probably don't either if you're watching this as a rec skier. So we have an option called the Head Raptor WCR Vibram plates, or what we call overkill plates. These are 7.5 millimeters thick. So they raise you up a bit, but like I said, you won't notice it too much while you're skiing. They're true din, so that's flat din, but with Vibram toe and heel strikes. So for a recreational skier who's not in a race course, who wants the highest performance, we can put these onto your boot, and now you have a grippy, non-slippery, super durable, replaceable part of the boot. It's super cool. Let me show you a boot. Just like this here. So this is the Head Raptor WCR 140 solid sole boot. This is kind of more of the recreational or masters race boot. We've installed the overkill plates with the Vibram. Now you can walk through the parking lot. You're not going to slip and fall. Feels awesome. When we do that, we do cut the boot. So I'm going to show you guys what this process looks like all together on here. So cool. We're going to put these away. These come with screws. They're terrible. We use a different set of screws. I've got good ones over here. So the next part of this that I want to note on is that when we're putting these toe and heels on, we are changing the boot. We're making sure that this is going to function in a binding properly. Everything we add, we have to take away by routering the boot, or as we refer to it, by cutting the boot. What we have to do, and why this process is actually almost better, is that boots sometimes come out of the factory. They come out of the factory, I don't want to say blemished, but they don't come out perfectly flat. It's hard to inject boots. It's a really expensive process. So not every single boot will come out perfectly flat. So if your boot isn't perfectly flat, it's actually, number one, your alignment's completely messed up if your boot's not perfectly flat, because we don't know what the alignment is if this is all twisted. Number two, when you're clicking into a binding and this isn't flat, that's actually not as good as we can make it by guaranteeing that it's perfectly flat. So to do that, before we put plates on, before we send boots out the door that are this style, we come over here onto our planer, and this side is perfectly flat. This is machined. This is 100% flat, guaranteed every time. I'm going to set the boot on here. See, looks good. I'm going to pinch it, give it a little rock. That boot has, it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to do it from the top and try to show you guys. That boot has just ever so slightly a little bit of rock, little bit of inconsistency. So, a little bit of inconsistency. Before we put plates on, we want this to be perfectly flat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here, throw it on the belt real quick. And it's literally just that. We're just smoothing out the little tiny bits, you can see it, where the boot is high. So you can see there, the boot comes out just a little teeny tiny bit high. We just clean that up. We come back here, and now that boot, when I'm putting pressure on it side to side, that is perfectly flat. That's beautiful. I'll show you again here. I'm going to check it again. Yeah, it's perfect. It's not going to get any better than that. So we're going to come back over here, take this guy here, boom, get that locked on there. Screwdriver. Always give it the 2 clicks. It's not going to work if you don't do that. Boom. All right. Plates. New plates. 5 mil plates. We're not done. We got to do the other boot. All right. Cool. Now, we've got 2 boots with plates. Again, come back over to our flat surface. This is a planer. This side's not actually flat. This side's flat. So we got it on here. That's perfect. I'll show you guys, put some pressure down on the boot, no movement at all. That will go into your bindings perfectly flat. Now the fun begins. So here's the next part of this. The ISO norm for toe and heel height, I'm gonna set up the boots here so that you can see that. ISO norm for toe and heel heights is 2 centimeters in the toe height from the ground to the top, and 3 centimeters in the heel. That's plus or minus 1 millimeter. So you can be within that 2 millimeter or 3 millimeter range, one in either direction, and function safely in a binding. We have a tool or a piece here that is to make sure that we're setting everything to the right height when we cut the boot after putting these plates on. So I'll show you guys. The toe of the boot, as you can see, is now lifted, right? So if we put our little piece here, you can see that difference in height, which means this currently will not click into a binding. We added 5 millimeters to the bottom, so we need to take away 5 millimeters on the top, okay? We've got 5 millimeters of difference that we need to clean up, okay? We're gonna use a router, and we're gonna have to cut the toe and heel of that boot to make sure that it's din height, that it's perfect, so it'll work in any binding. It's Alpine din that you click into. So we're gonna do 2 things before we do this. We're just taking the stickers off here. Just a couple of seconds on those stickers, just to make the glue release a little bit. So we've done that. Now what we need to do is take some tape. We've got 2 pieces of tape stuck together, and we're gonna put it on the boot to protect the boot. We're gonna make sure that when we bring it in and we hit on the router, that it doesn't take a chunk out of the side of the boot. We just want it to look, it's all aesthetic stuff. So slap those on there. We want our boots, when they come out of the shop here, to look super pro, like they came out of the factory, no matter what we're doing to them. So throw this on, throw this on. Now we take the piece that is our toe and heel height, we set it to the heel. We basically want this to be able to clear the blade, a teeny bit of friction, just a teeny bit. We want this to be able to clear that blade, because that's our heel height. That's going to cut our heel. Make sure we're smooth. Critical to always only halfway clean up after you make a mess. Okay, now that we've cut the boot, check that out, guys. See, the toe has been cut. Toe has been cut. You can see that there. Isn't that cool? We just want it to look pro. We want it to look like this is coming straight out of the race room, because it is. It's coming out of the Start Haus race room. Now that we've cut the boot, if you notice boots out of the box, they're typically a little bit rounded on the toe. Now that we've cut, we have a super sharp edge right here. Hear it. Super sharp edge. That can catch and hook into a binding if we leave it like that, okay? If we leave it like that, that can hook, and it actually will affect how a binding releases, and it can make your binding not pass in the tester in the back. So we need to clean this up. Same with the toe and heel. The heel is a little bit less likely to catch because it's not twisting, but we still clean it up because we cross our T's and dot our I's. We want to protect that plastic, and we want to protect your athletes. So we're going to come in, round it off a little bit. All right, perfect. Now, we're not quite finished yet, okay? We're just gonna polish it up. Take a Brillo pad, make it perfect. Beauty. Same thing on this side, we're just polishing it up. Air compressor time. Boots looking pro. Boom. Awesome. You guys made it to the end of the video. Thanks for checking it out. That's the full why we plate boots, how we plate boots, what we do to make sure that they still function in a binding, why this almost functions better in a binding because we correct any inconsistencies. Yeah, if you've got a pair of solid sole boots and you're walking through the parking lot and you're noticing some wear and tear on the boots, come have us throw plates on there before it's too late. All right, see you guys next time. Thanks.
Anything like that, we'll just stay with chill and have fun. I guess that's what life's all about.